Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to True Gunners TV. Yes, it's that time again. It is match preview time. Of course, Arsenal take on Fulham tomorrow at the Emirates Stadium in what could potentially be a tough fixture. We've played Fulham in recent times, and to be fair, our record against Fulham, especially at home, is actually really pretty good for Arsenal. So I'm expecting a comfortable victory tomorrow, but we've got a few talking points. We've got a few things to talk about. Of course, before we do that, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel if you're new. And of course, hit that notification bell as well so you never miss a video on the channel again. Now, look, guys, I'm not expecting loads of you to be in here because, of course, Chelsea are playing Luton right now. So there'll be a lot of people tuning into that game, I am sure. But if you're watching on playback, please make sure you hit the like button, make sure you subscribe and do all of that. It really does help the channel out and it would be very much appreciated. So let's talk Arsenal versus Fulham. Now, like I said, our record against Fulham is actually really pretty good. So this shouldn't be too much of a difficult fixture. And to be honest with you, I'm expecting a comfortable victory by Arsenal. And the biggest thing that I'm expecting from Arsenal tomorrow is a much better performance than what we have seen so far this season against Nottingham Forest and Crystal Palace. Because if we're being truthful with it, and people will sit there and say, we've got the results, we've got this, it's all good, it's all fine, it's all rosy in the garden. The fact of the matter is, you cannot perform like that throughout the entire season and continue to pick up points. There is going to come a point where we are going to become unstuck. Now, the good news for Arsenal is we have a handful of players returning from injury. Most notably, of course, this week, it has been announced that Gabriel Jesus is back and he is training with the Arsenal squad once again after having a knee injury and having to have surgery on that knee. Now, I was under the impression, and I'm sure a lot of you guys were as well, that Gabriel Jesus was going to be out for at least until after the international break because, you know, the knee injury seems to be an occurring thing for him. If you remember rightly, it's what kept him out last season for 3 months. He had to have surgery then as well. But this time around, obviously, it's not as serious as what was first thought, because I checked back to when Arsenal revealed that he was having another operation. It was actually only earlier on in this month. So in the space of a couple of weeks, he seems to be ready to once again integrate himself into the squad, which is fantastic news for Arsenal, of course. And we desperately need him. Let's be honest, we desperately need him. Gabriel Martinelli doesn't look the same player when he's playing up alongside the likes of Eddie Nketiah, because Gabriel Jesus does that role of bringing players into the game so much better than Eddie Nketiah, unfortunately. And, you know, you see it over the last couple of games since Eddie Nketiah has been up front, that Martinelli has done a bit of a disappearing act. So hopefully with Jesus now coming back, we can start to see better performances from the likes of Martinelli and even Bukayo Saka as well. So all is good in that sense. Of course, we know from last week that Alexander Zinchenko is also back from injury. He made the bench against Crystal Palace, and it was a surprising one, really, because I think a lot of us expected him to start the game. Obviously, he didn't. I'm assuming, you know, that's the manager not rushing him back from injury, which is very sensible by Mikel Arteta. Yeah, Mikel Arteta being sensible for once. And to be honest with you, I see Arteta's press conference. He said that Jesus is back, fit, ready, raring to go. But I don't want to see Gabriel Jesus starting tomorrow because, like I said, this knee injury seems to be a reoccurring thing. The last thing we want to do now is integrate him back in too early and then risk him getting injured again. because we need him this season. Let's be honest. We need Gabriel Jesus to stay as fit as possible this season, because otherwise it will be Eddie Nketiah up front, as we've already seen over the last couple of games. And this is nothing against Eddie at all. You know, he scored against Forest. A lot of people, depending on who you ask, will say that he played reasonably well against Crystal Palace. I think he worked hard, but your striker is there to finish chances, and he missed 2 big chances, and, you know, that cannot be ignored. So we're going to need Gabriel Jesus this season, because obviously Trossard is not favoured by the manager as a starting number 9, more as an impact player. So, like I say, we need Jesus. But do not even think, Mikel Arteta, about playing him in this game this weekend, unless you're bringing him off the bench for the last 20 minutes just to get a little bit more match fitness into his legs, because we cannot risk this guy. It's as simple as that. However, having said that, with regards to Zinchenko, I am expecting him to be starting the game tomorrow. And if he isn't, then I'm going to start questioning what is happening and what is going on in that situation, because I, for one, do not want to see Thomas Partey at right back anymore. Yeah, anymore. We've got Zinchenko back now. Play him at left back. He knows the inverted role. He comes into midfield. He does all of that. I want Thomas Partey back in that midfield with Declan Rice. No more right back. No more this. No more that. Play Ben White at right back like you should be, because he was the best, arguably, right back in the league last season. Play Gabriel next to Saliba, because, again, they were arguably the best partnership in the league whilst both of them were fit last season. So all of this tearing up that Mikel Arteta has done over the last 2 games, tearing up all the good things that Arsenal have done last season, he needs to repair that all back together again now. Because if he doesn't, there are players at Fulham that can expose us. And I'm not saying that they will, because so far this season, Fulham have had a very poor start, let's just say. They got absolutely slapped up last week by Brentford. Brentford without Ivan Toney, by the way. Of course, they've got Mbeumo and Wissa, who are stepping up in while he is no longer available. But if Brentford can slap up Fulham, then we should be doing very much the same, especially if we have the ambition of going to win the league this season, which I am very doubtful of, but that is the expectation at the beginning of this season. So I want to see Arsenal taking no prisoners this weekend and properly performing and showing us what we expect now of this team. You know, I wanted to see a statement performance against Forest. I didn't get it. I wanted to see a statement performance against Crystal Palace. We didn't get it. So now, with 3rd game into the season, I'm expecting Arsenal to go out at home and absolutely destroy Fulham. Like I say, they've got some dangerous players, Fulham. Paulinho is very good. I think, is Willian still there? I don't know. But, you know, that could be interesting if he plays up against his former club, even though, you know, I hate to think that Willian actually played for Arsenal because he was so horrendous here. And Marco Silva is actually a very decent manager, and he's done a very good job at Fulham. So it's going to be interesting to see how this game pans out, no doubt. And like I said, don't want to see Gabriel Jesus. Don't want to see Thomas Partey at right back. Don't want to see any of that. We need to go back to producing the same sort of level as what we was producing last season, and basically playing players in their correct positions where they excelled last season. None of this, Ben White, you're coming into centre-back, because we know that Ben White is not a great centre-back. Yeah? None of this, Gabriel, you're sitting on the bench for this game. None of that. I want to see players playing where they should be and where they excelled for Arsenal last season. And hopefully we'll see a better performance. So that is my views on this, guys. Like I said, make sure you're slapping up the likes. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel if you're new. And of course, hit the notification bell as well. I'm going to get into a few of your comments before we move on to the next thing. We got Steve in the house. As always, big up Steve. Tomorrow, Arsenal got to win and win comfortable. Exactly, Steve. Big up yourself. Yes, we are selling players, but not buying players. Still no links to any players that we want to buy. That's so concerning to see. And do you know what? Just to bring me on to the whole players thing, of course, we know Kieran Tierney, Fabrizio Romano tweeted it out today. Kieran Tierney is going to be flying to Spain tomorrow to complete his medical to sign for Real Sociedad. So, of course, Kieran Tierney won't be in the squad. He hasn't been in the squad for the last 2 games anyway. So, you know, that's kind of going to be business as usual anyway. But I ain't best pleased about this transfer. I think I made that pretty clear on the video I did last night. If you haven't checked that out, make sure you do go and check that out. I can't believe Arsenal are letting this guy go on loan. You know, if you're selling him and you're getting some money in for him, fine, whatever. He doesn't fit the manager's, you know, system that he wants to play. Doesn't suit our style anymore, whatever. But at least get some money in for Kieran Tierney, and Arsenal failed to do that. And it could be something that ends up biting us in the arse this season. We will see. We will see. Of course, Balogun, Arsenal have accepted a bid from Monaco, and we're waiting to hear some more news on that one. But you're right. With regards players that are being linked to a move to Arsenal, there's no links, bro. And I knew this was coming from the moment that they tweeted out that we was taking David Raya on an initial loan, and it was all because of FFP. I knew for a fact that Arsenal would not buy any more players in this transfer window, and I am telling every single one of you that right now. And if we do, it'll only be a cheap stopgap signing. It won't be anything major at all because, like I said, FFP seems to be an issue after having spent 240 million in this summer. And look, there's no getting past it. We still need more. We still need a defender. We still need a right winger to cover Bukayo Saka. We still need a striker, really. Although the strikers market is very poor. There are links linking us to Ivan Toney in January. I mean, if you believe that, be my guest. But we see this same trick being played by Arsenal when, you know, I think it was a couple of summers ago when we failed to get our target in, and it was like, oh, it's okay. We're going to go for Vlahovic in January. And then we ended up missing out on Vlahovic anyway. So this is a constant reoccurring thing by Arsenal since, you know, Arteta and Edu have taken over. So I don't buy into any of that bullshit. If we go for Ivan Toney in January, of course, I'll be very happy. But I believe it when I see it, and that's how I see that one. Of course, Mohamed Kudus has been announced as a West Ham player today by Fabrizio Romano. That deal is done, sealed, signed, delivered. Everything else. So there's no way that he will be signing for Arsenal. That's another target we've missed out on. And yeah, like there's not really any links out there. There's a one or two, I would say, dodgy links to, you know, timber replacements and this, that, and the other. But it seems to me like the manager is very happy with the squad. And that's cool. I'm glad. Because if you don't deliver this season, you have to be sacked. Simple as. And that's how I see it, you know, deliver or go, because we ain't wasting no more time fucking about. And I'm hoping that a lot of Arsenal fans will be on the same page if it ends up coming to a head and, you know, we fail. I'm hoping that a lot more Arsenal fans will look up, sit up and realise that this ain't good enough and it needs to be better. And we cannot keep giving passes season in, season out for failure. So we're going to see what happens with regards to that. Let's just put it this way. I'm not confident that if we go into the season with this squad, that we can actually do anything in the Champions League or the Premier League this season. But then again, if we go ahead and win an FA Cup and a League Cup or a League Cup or an FA Cup, whatever it may be, then a lot of the fan base will accept that because it's a trophy. Not in my book. Yeah, you have to compete for a league title. You have to go far in the Champions League and win a trophy for it to be an acceptable season for me. So, yeah, he's got a lot to do, and we'll see. We will see. But yeah, regarding the Fulham game, I'm expecting Arsenal to slap them about and keep a clean sheet as well, which is something that we seem to struggle to do at the moment. I know we got the clean sheet against Crystal Palace, but if we're being completely real, if we hadn't have won a penalty, we wouldn't have won the game because we didn't really create anything in that game. The two chances that we did, Eddie and Nketiah fucked them up. And yeah, it was a very even contest against Palace. I don't want to see that this weekend. I want to see a comfortable victory by Arsenal. And I expect us to go out there and win the game by at least 2 goals. So I'm going to go, my score prediction is 3-0 to Arsenal. And they better go out there and do something like that. I'm telling you, they better had. Otherwise, there's going to be more drama on fan cams and match reactions and all of that, because I will not accept anything less than that. It's time to perform now, Arsenal. Get your score predictions in the comments section as well, guys. And of course, make sure you slap the likes. So where was we at with the comments? We've got Taib. We got, hello, Brandon. How are you, mate? Good evening. Big up yourself, Taib. Yeah, I'm good, bro. I'm good. It's Friday. The weekend, long bank holiday weekend. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the game tomorrow. I'm looking forward to seeing how Arsenal perform. And look, it's time to perform. No more messing around. No more experimental changes to the team. Just play the players in their positions where they're best suited and go out there and just create a statement. Seriously, like we can't be messing around no more. Not if we're going to be competing against Man City. I see games not on TV. I will follow live score on Watch Along in any YouTube channel, and Man United on TV. I'm looking forward to. Yeah, there's going to be some good games this weekend. Of course, I think the standout game is Newcastle versus Liverpool. I'll definitely be watching that game because, yeah, they're two teams that are very, very good going forward. Obviously, Newcastle probably a little bit more defensively sound than Liverpool. But look, whenever they play each other, there's always goals in that game. So it's going to be very, very interesting to watch that one. Man United, geez, they're in a mess right now. So it's going to be interesting to see if they can recover from the Tottenham loss and the injuries that they've got as well. The manager's under pressure, and they should do, but you never know. It's Premier League football. This club is on a 20-year trolling process. Never trust the process. Kroenke out, Vinay out, Edu out, Arteta out. Big up yourself, Red Bull Vodka. If there's one retired player that never played for Arsenal you wish they did, for me, I go Ronaldinho with his skills and tricks. Oof. I mean, God, that is a question and a half. Ronaldinho is a good shout. Pele, that'd be another one. Maradona, yeah. I mean, I know Maradona is no longer with us, sadly, but what a player he was. Pele as well. Yeah. I mean, you can't look further than them two. True Gunners TV, I agree. I want to see them slap them up proper 4-0. Exactly, my bro. That's it. Do that. It needs to be done. I said to Hussam, What's the most overrated and underrated league in the world? He said Bundesliga overrated and French league underrated. Do you agree or do you have a different choice? I definitely think Hussam's right with the Bundesliga being a very overrated league. Let's be honest, Bayern Munich win that league most, if not every single season. So to say that the Bundesliga is not an overrated league, I definitely think it is. I mean, the French league as an underrated, I don't know if it's an underrated league because once again, you've got PSG there that win that league more than not. But there are some teams in there that have won the league in recent years ahead of PSG. So maybe it is a little bit more competitive in the French league. I'm just trying to think if there's any other leagues that are underrated. He's probably about right, to be fair. He's probably about right. Yeah. Brandon, big up yourself, Arsenal, since 1987. We can't be rushing Jesus back. I 100% agree with you, my friend. Don't start Gabriel Jesus in this game. In fact, I wouldn't even bring him off the bench unless we absolutely had to, or if it was just a case of getting a little bit of fitness back into his legs. So you give him a run out for the last 10 minutes. But, do not start this guy in this game. Play Trossard would be my option. I know the manager's going to go with Eddie Nketiah, but I don't want Jesus starting this game and risking getting injured again. We need this guy. We need him. Kroenke out, Arteta out, Edu out, Vinay out, says Highbury's local badger. Our defence is even more weaker now. I agree, bro. I've said this on the stream last night. Again, if you haven't seen it, make sure you go and check it out. We have less defensive options than what we had last season now that Kieran Tierney has gone and Urian Timber is injured. So, when you look towards the back end of the season and Saliba got injured, we are basically in the same predicament again this season because, okay, Tomiyasu's fit right now. How long is he going to stay fit for? The guy can't stay fit for any longer than 10 games. And Arsenal fans are going, yeah, but we got Tommy, we got Zinchenko, we got Kivior, we got this guy and that guy. Kivior's not good enough yet. May never be good enough, by the way, but he's definitely not good enough yet. And Zinchenko and Tomiyasu are far too injury prone for me. They cannot. I guarantee you, Zinchenko's already been injured anyway, but I guarantee you that Tomiyasu and Zinchenko will pick up another long-term injury at some point again this season. I guarantee you. And when that happens and we start having to throw Rob Holding in again, then maybe these Arsenal fans will wake up and realise that in actual fact, we ain't done enough. And we haven't. And unless we go out and address that in the next 5 days, it cannot. You simply, I tell you, if Arsenal go through this season without getting any more injuries to their back line, we would have had one of the luckiest seasons in history. Because there is going to be injuries. It's bound to be injuries because we are playing more games this season, more competitive games this season with the Champions League as well. There is going to be more injuries. It's inevitable. It's going to happen. And if it happens to one or two key players, I still don't think the squad depth is good enough. Simple as that. Are you watching Chelsea Luton? No, I am not, my friend, but I will be after the stream. We won't win a EPL or UEFA Champions League this season. Just sack Arteta now. Brandon, imagine Jesus, Ivan Toney, Martinelli, Saka in the team lineup. We would be cooking. Yeah, I mean, I've been beating this drum about Ivan Toney for at least a year or two now. Since Since Brentford came up from the Championship, I actually stated that Arsenal should go out and sign Ivan Toney. And lo and behold, everybody's now a big fan of Ivan Toney. My ball knowledge can't be that bad, can it? Let's be honest. In cups, you've got to play a strong team, not the reserves. Football is about winning trophies, 100%, Steve. How much would Ivan Toney cost in January? 60 million, bring him to the red carpet. I think you might have to pay a little bit more than 60 million. I think if you're going to go get Ivan Toney, you're probably better off going and get him now. And that might sound stupid, but right now, with this whole betting thing over his head and blah, 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 and everything else, you could probably get Ivan Toney at a cheaper rate. You could probably negotiate it at a cheaper rate. Whereas in January, when he's back and all of that's gone and done and finished, maybe with today's market, you might be looking at about £80 million. And people will say that sounds ridiculous, but it's the market, You're looking at players like Mudryk going for £88 million. He had literally 3 months worth of football at Shakhtar, and then all of a sudden £88 million. So I don't think it's out of the realms of possibility that Ivan Toney would be worth £80 million. I think if you go get him now, have him already there, ready to go. I don't know about the whole training thing. I'm pretty certain that he's not even allowed to train or whatever. But, at least you can get him used to being around the club, around the players, kind of, watching training sessions, getting an idea of how the manager wants you to play and stuff like that, so that you're ready to come into the team and hit the ground running when you can play in January. Whereas as you go get him in January, he may take 1, 2, 3 months to settle in. Yeah, I don't know. For me, I'd go and get him now, but obviously that's not a possibility with Arsenal having FFP on their back. I agree, go and get Ivan Toney now. Exactly that, my friend. But like I said, with regards to the game tomorrow, I'm expecting a comfortable victory for Arsenal. My score prediction, I'm going 3-0. I'm even going to go for Declan Rice to score his first Arsenal goal. And then I think Bukayo Saka and Bukayo Saka and Gabriel Martinelli will get the other two. So I'm going 3-0 to Arsenal. We'll see if that's right. We'll see if we can put in a better performance than what we have done over the last 2 weeks. And basically, guys, I will be back for my match reaction tomorrow. Of course, after the game, I will be doing, hopefully, a fan cam on Lee's channel as well. I've got to speak to Lee and make sure that that's okay first. So, tune in and watch that as well. And then, of course, the Football Terrace, I will be jumping on there and doing a match reaction for that. So make sure you're about, guys, after the game, because there'll be plenty of content to get your hands into. I agree. Go get Ivan Toney now. Ivan Toney in January is a lie. Deluded fan base always fall for it. And Arsenal since 1987 says I'm expecting a 3 or 4-0 win tomorrow. And look, guys, like I said, make sure you slap the likes on the way out. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're new. And, of course, hit the notification bell so you never miss a video. I'm going to go and get myself out of here, go and have some dinner and spend some time with the wife and the kids. But until tomorrow, peace. I am out of here.